It's the Bond Report Podcast with your hosts, Norm Bond. Guests, solutions, insights. Get connected now.
Yes, and welcome to the Bond Report Podcast. This is Norm Bond. So happy to be joining in with you and to be connecting with you, and I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to the podcast. It's been a while, man. So much has been going on in my life and in your life and in the world, so I'm so happy to connect with you. And if you've been listening to me and following me on social media, really want to give you a big shout out, and I'm really excited to get things going. I mean, we're coming into a critical time here as we wrap up 2021. I've been, as many of you know, in Thailand for the past 6 years, doing things from there, doing digital marketing, and I've picked up a lot of things, and really excited to connect from this base, from this platform, and be able to still promote and enlighten and connect with people around the world. So if you haven't listened to the show in some time, it's going to be quite exciting and a great ride for all of us. You know, in the Bond Report Podcast, what we do is provide you guests, commentaries, insights, and solutions on digital marketing, the crypto space, business growth, and expansion. So if you're a first-time listener, I want to especially thank you for joining the conversation, sharing your time with us and sharing your time with me, and not just listening to the podcast, but engage and follow and ask me questions, tap into whatever I can bring as far as resources to help you with your goals. I promise to value and respect your time, and hope that this won't be your last time listening in if this is your first time listening in. So what do you want to know about attracting leads, of building revenue, increasing profits, attracting media attention, or building authority? If you got questions in those areas, then this is the podcast for you to be listening to. What's your big idea? How are you using today's digital tools to make it happen? The information on this show can be applied all over the globe and in any time zone. We're meeting at the intersection of social media, entrepreneurship, and we're targeted to help people who want to change the world, the disruptors, the life hackers, the people who are dreamers, entrepreneurs, and you. If you want to make an impact, you want to effectively live, work, and play in today's digital and global economy. I believe that from business owners to community activists to students, we all should have a purpose, a goal, a vision, something that we're working to bring into existence. But what if you have the why to do something different, but not the how? If that's what you're about, then you're in the right place. We want to give you the how. We want to connect you to the people, connect you to how to use the tools that are available, connect you to the resources anywhere in the world in order to help you advance and achieve the goals and the vision that you have for yourself and for your business and for your community. What is your big idea? How are you using today's digital tools to make it happen? The information on this show can be applied all over the globe and in any time zone, because we're using and meeting at the intersection of not only digital marketing, but also social media and also entrepreneurship. One of the things that is important and that I do with a lot of clients is we work to create a digital strategy. We help you get the buzz going with social media for community building. If you are in business, we want you to be able to attract leads, to attract customers. If you have apps that you've developed, and we want you to be able to attract users. We want you to be able to monetize and increase your entrepreneurship. It's all connected. And we say, and we stay connected on social media, email, SMS, and virtual and live events. So as I mentioned, I'm coming to you live from the U.S. after spending 6 years in Bangkok, Thailand. Big shout out to all the connects, all the people and companies I was able to meet in Asia, Thailand, Vietnam, Hong Kong, the Philippines, China, all the expats from the UK and Africa, Russia, Turkey, Canada. I'm really looking forward to continuing to work together and build on some of the things that we were doing in Asia, but also now being able to bring them to you from over here in the U.S.
Listen to the Bond Report Podcast on Amazon, Apple Podcasts,
Today I want to discuss
Spotify,
3 areas
Spreaker,
on this episode.
and iHeartRadio.
It's really time to get busy. This has been a rough 1.5 years for most of us, but the fourth quarter is always exciting because this is it. This is the end of the calendar year. This is deadline. The deadline is approaching. If you set goals back in January, you only have about 9 weeks to really make them happen, and also to position yourself for 2022, for next year. So today in digital marketing, in this topic, I want to talk about some e-commerce strategies. What do you need to be doing right now to make online or offline sales? In social media, I want to talk about Facebook marketing and strategies and some of the changes that we're seeing there, particularly with the changes with Apple's iOS. We're going to talk a little about that. And in crypto, I want to talk about some of the ways, of course, to get started with some trading. Bitcoin is hot. It's around 60,000, setting new all-time highs. And I also want to talk about something that's also blazing hot, which is the NFT space. So I'm coming to you live from Philadelphia, PA, and I discuss empowering issues, including digital marketing, how you can reach your audience using digital tools, social media, how you can connect and engage and build your authority using platforms like Pinterest, like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. And also we want to talk about this whole crypto space, the cryptocurrency, blockchain, NFT world. How do you get involved in that? I know I get a lot of questions from people about blockchain and crypto. How do you get started trading? How do you avoid getting ripped off? Because there's a lot of scams and con artists out there. But how do you get a slice of crypto? What do you need? What is the process of mining or getting on to a crypto exchange and creating your own crypto wallet and things of that nature? So all of those things will be topics that we'll be discussing as we go forward and as I continue to bring you additional episodes of the Bond Report podcast.
Hit up the website at normbondmarkets.com.
Bangkok experience was really exciting and it was amazing, and I think that what I picked up in terms of the digital piece will only help make the content that you're listening to now and going forward even more valuable. Why? Because my perspective is even more global than it was. My network is broader, and our solutions will apply no matter where you are in the world. I'm looking forward to bringing on many of the guests that I was able to connect with, and also people who I'm connecting with now on these platforms, whether it's Twitter, whether it is Instagram, LinkedIn. You know, we've got a lot of folks that are in my network that I can utilize to help bring you solutions and also help introduce them to the listeners of this podcast. So let's work together. Let's make this thing happen. Let's get it done. We know that this is a challenging time, but it is also an exciting time. So I'm going to plan to come to you each week and share my perspective on what's been hot, you know, what's blazing, bring you the live guests, bring you topics to focus on, bring you some things and insights that you may not have, and really make things really plain so that you can take action, massive action, in order to get done what it is that you want to get done, particularly and specifically around digital marketing, social media marketing, and cryptocurrency. So we want to make a few announcements, and then we're going to be right back and get you going.
You're logged in and locked on. Spread the word.
Okay, in our first topic, let's talk about digital marketing and e-commerce. And this includes things like lead generation, sales, and making money online. This is the pre-holiday marketing time, right? So we've got campaigns that you should be working on and preparing, because in November, it really shifts more to a sales mode. And then in December, we're kind of doing more like looking back on what happened. This year is going to be especially challenging, though, because of some of the things that we're going to talk about, like the global supply chain and some of the changes that have happened with the Apple iOS. But it's going to be exciting time. Holiday marketing is always exciting, because people respond to a deadline. People get together with families. You see all of the newest ads. And this is the time when you got to make that money. You got to close it. Whatever you projected for your yearly goals, this is the last couple of months of the year to really hit the numbers that you set. In terms of online shopping, it's going to be a focal point for shoppers going forward. In fact, some of our recent data shows that 87% of consumers still plan to shop online, even as brick and mortar locations open. People have gotten really comfortable and with the convenience of online shopping. So if you are someone who is a retailer, you got a brick and mortar place, or you don't have a brick and mortar place and you're using something online like a Shopify or Wix or Etsy, any of those types of platforms, you need to be really gearing up, having your campaign set up in order to maximize this opportunity, because consumers are going to be looking to shop more online. Now, when I was living in Bangkok, one of my clients was a global logistics network. We serviced about 500 international freight forwarders. If you're bringing things from abroad, if you're trying to get items in from China or Turkey or places like Australia and get them into the U.S., then you're going to have a freight forwarder involved. And the same with U.S. companies that are sending their products abroad. They handle getting products through customs and even tracking items and shipments to the last mile, getting your order to the door of the consumer. So you can listen to my interview with one of the CEOs. It's in one of the podcast back issues, so you can check that out. Many of the products that you want in your store, whether that's online or offline, have to be placed on a container ship, and it will take months for those products to arrive in the U.S. This is why you have to order and get that stuff on the books now. And you actually, I'm talking to some clients who are telling me how suppliers are already saying to them, listen, we're going to be short because we also have challenges with the workforce, with employees. So I can't stress to you enough the importance of making sure that you don't wait till the last minute. Don't wait till December to decide that you want to try to get in on the holiday marketing revenue. It's going to be too late. If you're into e-commerce or retail and you want to make money during the holidays, you need to be totally focused right now. October was really your last month to figure it out for 2021, because November, you need to be selling. Your product strategy and focus needs to be on implementation. This means just identifying your suppliers, your website needs to be tight, your content marketing, things like promotions, you need to have those things lined up, your fulfillment, and even being ready to get into some of your analytics and tracking. November, even though Black Friday is typically the day after Thanksgiving, what we're seeing now is Black Friday is being promoted as a month-long event. Think of it like that. That means that you need to have things set up for the entire month where you pre-sell the Black Friday, you introduce it, you get your emails out, you get your bonuses out, you get things put in place. If you want to bundle products together, you need to have all of those things together. And that one tool that I mentioned that you're going to need, get ready for it, is your marketing calendar, your digital marketing calendar. So those are some of the things that you'll need in place. Get those things on your calendar. There are lots of tools out there for you. Again, hit my website. I've got some tools on normbondmarkets.com. You can even do virtual tours. I've got some information on how you can create a online experience for your customers that mirrors what they would get if they were to come to your physical store. So check that out. Hit up the website, normbondmarkets.com. Check out the Virtual Tour 360 and check out some of the other tools to help you make the most out of this holiday marketing season. And not just really for the holidays, look at 2022. If you're starting too late, think 2022, think January, think next year. The marketing process and the business cycle is a year-long, all-day, all-year process. So get that in place. It's not too late for you to make the most out of your business and your growth strategy.
Now podcasting live from Philadelphia, PA, in the U.S. Welcome to the Bond Report Podcast with your host, Norm Bond.
Okay, and we're back on the Bond Report. Again, I want to thank you for taking the time to listen in. This is your host, Norm Bond. And when I mentioned the areas that we're going to touch on, I want to also say we're not going to go too deep and too technical, but I do want to share some practical tips to get you started in these areas. I want to be able to help you expand and show you how to get next level info to bring you to a new level. So as we mentioned, we want to really get into topics around digital marketing, social media marketing, cryptocurrency, e-commerce, and basically things that can help empower you at this intersection of economics, technology, business, no matter where you are in the world. When I hosted my first webinar on Bitcoin, it was under 4,000. And I know some of you jumped on it. You sent me messages, and I'm happy to have introduced a lot of you to the world of crypto and continue to do so. These are areas that you want to at least be conversational on, and you may want to be able to invest. You may be able to trade. You may just want to be knowledgeable. You may want to put some percentage of your portfolio into these types of currencies. It has really changed since 2017 because back then the ICOs were hot. Today we're talking ETFs, NFTs, altcoins, and DeFi. Major brands are also involved, including Twitter, PayPal, MasterCard, Facebook, Amazon. Governments are getting more involved. Crypto and blockchain are here to stay. So you'll hear more about the social media topic when we come back from this break and jump right into it. Keep listening to the Bond Report Podcast.
Follow Norm Bond on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Google+, and wherever social media is found.
Okay, and we're back. And as I mentioned before we went to break, we want to get into social media. And I want to talk about Facebook advertising. You may have heard about the impact of this Apple iOS update 15.1. It's for all supported devices. And let's hear what Renee Ritchie, who always brings analysis and reviews on Apple products, had to say on this on his YouTube channel. The post is How iOS 15 Destroys Facebook. Let's listen up.
With iOS 15, though, we're getting app privacy reports. It's a whole new section in settings that lets us examine how often apps actually access the various features on our phones, and not just things like cameras or mics, location, photos, or contacts, but yes, that, but also all the third-party domains they're contacting and how recently. So we're not just accepting their paperwork anymore, we're checking their damn receipts. Likewise, app tracking transparency really only gave us control over our digital location on device. It let us, and not some giant social search internet company, decide whether or not our activity and behavior could be tracked all over our phones and across the web. Whether Facebook could follow us out of Instagram, into our dating and fertility journal apps, over to our local church site, favorite fringe adult site, online games, or baby shopping site. But in and of itself, app tracking transparency doesn't cover everything. Specifically, it only covers third-party tracking, not first-party tracking. So Facebook can and still does track us freely and fully across their own massively popular range of apps and sites, including Facebook proper, but also WhatsApp and Instagram. But outside the honor system, basically they're choosing to respect our wishes. There's just no real way to force them to not track us across the web anyway, not when so many sites integrate so many of their web and social services, so they can still get their shadow profiles still on. Because especially now that we finally started getting informed consent on our iPhones, and so many of us are opting to withhold that consent hard, opting out of being tracked in the digital world, finding it every bit as creepy as being tracked in the physical world, and apparently driving hell of a lot of the most thirsty ad spend to Android instead, at least for now.
Okay, wow. So you're hearing it right there. Lots of small business owners and advertisers in particular are going to be hurt by this update, because let's say you're a candle seller, or you're a jewelry maker, or you're a local business that uses Facebook to get new customers, or you use Facebook as your storefront. you will need to find new ways to engage because the audience that is available is going to be smaller. You're going to have better targeting. You're going to have to be able to find alternative ways that you can test in order to get your products in front of customers and attract new customers. You're going to have to think outside of the box a bit. You also want to optimize pages on your e-commerce store. The key pages being pages that have special offers, pages where you put your product bundles, pages that might have gift ideas, and of course your individual product pages. All these pages need to look good. They need to function well on a mobile device. You also can add some production value to those pages by putting in some videos. You can use an image carousel, and of course you have to have clear calls to action in order to boost your revenue during this fourth quarter. So we're going to be talking more about this as we go forward into future episodes and we get some actual results. We really see the impact of this iOS change, but everyone who's in the know is saying that the impact is going to be dramatic. And if you are an advertiser of Facebook and looking for ways to optimize your spend, you need to be on top of your game and also reach out to me. I've got some people I've been talking with. We're introducing some new tools to help support these advertisers, particularly if you're trying to do B2C. So make sure you reach out, like I said, on social media or on my website, and let's see what we can do to make sure that you don't get lost in the iOS changes that are going to impact your advertising results.
Hit up the website at normbondmarkets.com.
Wow, the time is really moving fast here on the Bond Report. We're going to talk now about cryptocurrency, another one of my favorite topics. And what is up with the crypto space? It is on fire. We've got Bitcoin setting new all-time highs, trading over $60,000 US. We got the altcoins that are really taking off. You're seeing Ethereum pushing all-time highs. It's a very exciting time in the crypto space, and we're seeing more adoption that is happening as more institutional investors get involved in crypto. Now, I will say it's not all a bowl of cherries and a walk through the park. There is increased regulation. We're seeing more scams that are going on. A lot of FOMO, the fear of missing out. It's still the wild, wild west. So you have to follow trustworthy sources. You need to start slow, and I also say take a long-term approach in terms of your crypto strategy. Don't just hand over your money to people who say they can get you rich very quick, because a lot of these people are actually not trustworthy. So be mindful. As you know, the saying goes, do your own research. Don't be hands off with your money or your learning. Stay involved and start slow, and keep listening to the Bond Report podcast and the folks and the resources that we share, because we look to vet them all out before we bring them in. Another hot area is NFTs. What are they? Why the buzz? Should you be paying attention? There are lots of ways to participate, from investing to collecting to digital marketing. Let's talk about them real quick. And I've got some info on my site if you want to learn more. In March of this year, we know that Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter and Square, sold the first tweet he ever posted as an NFT for over $2.9 million. So what did the first tweet say? I'm going to drop that on you later on. Keep listening. So NFT stands for non-fungible token. Think of it like this. If I give you a dollar bill, it's no different than any other dollar bill that you already have. It can be replaced by another dollar bill. They are identical items. There is no real individual specimen as the dollar bill, right? They're all what we refer to as fungible. Now, think of non-fungible as just the opposite. It is unique. It cannot be replaced by another identical item. It is the one and only, the genuine, the original item. And this can be verified. So when we think non-fungible token, We're talking about a crypto asset that cannot be altered, cannot be reproduced, and can be verified in terms of its ownership through the blockchain. The blockchain is the technology that makes Bitcoin and other cryptos so valuable. It's a public ledger that cannot be altered. It allows for trustless transactions because everybody and anybody can trace the history by looking at the transactions that occurred on the blockchain. So NFTs can be sold for money, fiat money, or cryptocurrency. The token transfer is recorded in the blockchain just like crypto, and this establishes who currently owns it. Consumer interest is what drives the value of an NFT. Similar to trading cards, the rarity and base of interested consumers influence their worth. So if you've got a big audience or you've got a community of interested consumers, this would enhance the value of any NFT that you might want to bring forward. So it's also important to understand that while you can take an image and convert it into an NFT, that doesn't prevent the image from being freely shared. But it does definitely show and definitively show who owns the asset through the blockchain. So let's hear what Gary Vee thinks about NFTs. If you don't know Gary Vee, he's a major influencer. He has his own advertising agency, estimated worth, over 100 million, about 160 million USD. And here's his NFT view, speaking on Only the Savvy channel. Listen up.
I'm going to give you such a clear picture that I think will help people. Every one of you has an aunt, uncle, niece, nephew, friend, grandma. When you go into their house, they collect marbles. They collect little miniature elephants. They collect magnets. Every state they go to, they pick up a matchbox. Humans are inherently hoarding assets. And we use them for ourselves because we like it. We get caught up in the nostalgia and the story, and we use it to flex. Flexing a painting or your Winnie the Pooh collection that's epic in your house is kind of hard except for the people that come through. The blockchain is going to accelerate at a scale. Right. The way I thought that it would accelerate communication with social, and that's why I think people are underestimating it. To me, it's the most similar thing to web internet stocks 99, 2000 that I remember. I remember being there. I was young, so I wasn't as experienced and didn't have as many pattern recognitions and reps, but I had a lot of the good ingredients, right? And I remember sitting there and saying, man, a lot of these businesses make no sense. Just no sense. I'm like, how could they be worth this much money? They're losing so much money. And I didn't understand Wall Street, so I wasn't sure. But when the affirmation of March and April 2000 came along and most things got smoked out, it kind of was a monumental moment for me because the only stock that I bought was Amazon. And because I really thought it was like a real business, even though it was losing money in a different way than other things. It had an actual business, like back to how Sam and I started, revenue mattered. The other ones didn't have revenue, right? No customer gave. And I'm always like, does the customer care? So what do I think overall? I think people are grossly underestimating NFTs. I think right now people think of them as collectible and art and flip game. And for a lot of us that have that American Picker, garage sale, sports cards for me, and there's a ton of people that love that. That's why half of Wall Street, that's where they go. There's a lot of those people, and that's amazing. And that's big. That's a big industry. Over the next 15 years, big. Collecting, flipping, you've got an entire generation of kids that go on Fortnite and Madden and 2K and buy digital assets to flex. So that's going to play out. But I think that's just a nuance of NFTs. I think people misunderstand the utility nature of smart contracts. I believe in the next 15 years that nobody writes a book with a publisher, they do it through an NFT infrastructure. I believe that in 15 years, nobody launches a record label by having a record label give them the bag. They're going to get it from crowdfunding by selling NFTs and giving a percentage of royalties. I believe that there's not a single sporting event or concert in 10 years that the ticket is not an NFT because there's no incentive for that organization and that artist or people to launch it as anything but an NFT, because a QR code or a piece of paper means nothing. But the NFT, if Luka Doncic drops 100 points in that game, that becomes a forever collectible. There's $1 trillion worth of ticket stubs that have sold over the last 25 years on eBay. You know, that all goes to royalties to the person. So what's really fascinating to me, I'll give you a weird one. If you own a home that is wildly unique and is a $25 million home on a beach or something wild, right? You NFT that home right now, put into the smart contract that you get 1% of every transaction of this home in perpetuity. And the first person that's going to buy it from you is going to be fine with that. They don't give a because these things are long leads, right? You buy it, you sit on it for 13, 15 years. So like there's so much that NFT blockchain realities are going to bring that I think people are underestimating it.
Wow, you just heard it right there from Gary Vee. That is a man that's in the know. So now you see why artists, athletes, brands are all looking at their assets and trying to figure out what they can adapt and put into the NFT space. The beauty of it is you can also do the same thing. You can look at your assets that you have and think, how can I put them into the NFT space? You can, if you're a creator, you can look at what can I produce and create that I can put into the NFT space of your brand. You can look at how I can participate. What can we put into the NFT space that will enhance our brand, that will help us make more revenue? So if you want to know more about the NFT space, be sure to hit up the website or message me and let's get involved, because this is not going anywhere. You're in the right place at the right time. I told you I would tell you what Jack Dorsey's first tweet said, and what Jack Dorsey typed out was a simple message, and it was just setting up my Twitter. 5 words, and Twitter was spelled TWTTR. That was the first ever tweet, and it helped launch the global platform that now we know as Twitter, and it has become a dominant force not only in the US and in the West, but all over the world. Simple. In March, ArtNet News published a list of 10 of the most expensive NFT artworks ever sold, topped by Beeple's $69 million sale at Christie's. That's right. NFT sold for $69 million in March. March 11th, during a pandemic. This catapulted the artist, whose real name is Mike Winkelmann, to number 3 on the list of most expensive living artists at auction. But while his number 1 spot still holds, the rest of the list quickly became outdated, with new NFT artworks continuing to sell for prices in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. And while the exponential growth of NFT sales has struck some as unsustainable, reports that the bubble has burst seem to be premature. We heard what Gary Vee had to say about this. Turnover in the all-time top 10 space, which was first compiled in March, kind of backs that up, because the top 2 sales have retained their position, but the other 8 are all new. And the 3rd, 4th, and 5th most expensive works fell to 13th, 16th, and 17th in less than 3 months. So this is a area that is blazing hot. A lot of traditional people really never saw it coming, and in terms of the crypto craze, but it's here now, and we know there are trends you can jump on at the right time and really become rich. And you can be an early adopter, an innovator, and if you hit the right industry and the right product or the right service, you can really write your own ticket. You think about how you make money off of NFTs. It depends. What type of person are you? If you have the money to spare, your best bet may be to buy an asset that will obviously garner interest and increase in interest as time goes on, and you just sit on it. Another option is, while some other higher profile NFTs are overpriced right now, the NFT market is just beginning. So you'll have far less competition. If you're a content creator or influencer, you could be best off creating your own original NFTs and selling them. Bitcoin was selling for less than a dime, 10 cents when it first launched. And today, 11 years later, it's over $60,000 per coin and climbing. So we're living in a time like no other. So be open to possibilities, be open to new things. Like most blockchain experiments, the future of NFTs is relatively unknown. No one can really be certain about what's going to happen. But what we're seeing is a trend that is spiking upward. Prominent individuals, prominent publications, brands are getting involved, and it seems to me, and it seems to them, that NFTs aren't going away anytime soon. So if you want to get in, this could be a great time for you. Wealthy investors are pouring money into NFTs. It's likely they will become more and more mainstream. So to jump into the market with the least risk, anything creative that you own is potentially valuable.
Follow Norm Bond on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and wherever social media is found. Let's go!
This could be music that you recorded. It could be game sprites. It could be pictures you've taken, prominent accounts on various sites and forums, and pretty much anything else you think of could be an NFT. Even memes are being turned into NFTs and being sold. If you want to learn more about how you can get in on the NFT phenomenon, be sure to hit my website or message.
Guests, solutions, insights. Get connected now.
Wow. Okay, we're going to wrap up this episode of the Bond Report. It's really been great to reconnect and get this information out there. I hope you found it valuable, enlightening, and I hope you will then share it. I'm glad you listened to the Bond Report all the way up to this point.
Spread the word. You're logged in and locked on.
I invite you to connect with me if you need my services, you have any questions or comments, or if you're interested in being a sponsor of the Bond Report. You can also find more digital marketing articles and content at normbondmarkets.com. Email me norm@normbond.com. And until we meet up, act local, market global, keep changing the world. Peace.
Hit up the website at normbondmarkets.com.